The hockey world is abuzz. We have Polar Bears, Ryan Miller and Cam Ward making news, and also the Islanders, although not so much in a good way. And don't you just love it when you can rub a little bit of salt into that fresh wound? All that and a whole lot more for you tonight on In the Crease. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to In the Crease. We have an exciting episode for you. And I try to keep politics as much as possible out of In the Crease because, after all, it's a hockey thing. But when we're taping this, we're in a transition now between administrations. The Obama regime is saying goodbye, and Donald Trump is coming in as the 45th president. And in between this transition, there is an awful lot of talk about racism. Some people feel it has gotten worse over the last 8 years. Some people seem to think that the new president is going to make it worse. No matter what side of the fence you're sitting on, I'm here to tell you that racism in America between blacks and whites is nothing compared to the racism and prejudice that exists in the Great White North, Canada, against American players, which is why it was absolutely hysterical when in the World Juniors, the gold was won by the American team playing against Canada, and it went all the way to a shootout. I'm not sure if you saw this game or not. It was kind of buried on an obscure network in the background somewhere. And as a result, the Americans fell down to the Canadians by 2 goals, twice in the game, and the Americans kept coming back. Finally went into overtime. No one could score. Great goaltending. Went into a shootout. Since most of you didn't see this, I'm going to show it to you here. Here's the shootout of the World Junior Cup tournament, America versus Canada.
2 guys who have had quite a night. The second shootout in World Junior Gold Medal game history. And Colin White, the 19-year-old, one of 2 returnees for the United States, the Ottawa Senators' first-round pick, will start it off. Here we go. White moves in, stopped by Hart.
Colin White denied by Carter Hart.
And now Strome will shoot for Canada. He does not have a shootout attempt since returning to the Ontario Hockey League. Strome works in, shoots, and Parsons turns him away.
Strome wants to wait out Parsons and get this up over the glove. He doesn't get it high enough. Parsons holds his ground, and he makes the stop.
Now it's after 5 rounds. You can start using anyone you want.
Clayton Keller missed in the shootout as well yesterday.
Same order for the U.S. as yesterday so far. Keller works in, stopped by Hart.
Just like Parsons did earlier, Hart stays his ground, keeps his glove up, snares the Keller shot.
Matt Barzal now.
Really silky hand. Barzal will be able to get tight to Parsons' feet.
Barzal works in a backhand shot that goes wide, and no one has scored yet.
Almost certain Barzal's going to deke here. He takes it to his backhand, ends up going wide of the net. And now here's Kiefer Bellows, who has 2 goals in the regulation part of the game.
Bellows to give the U.S. the lead. In on Hart, fires, and Hart makes another glove save.
Oh man, is he locked in. George, you've talked about Brian Bellows' shot, Kiefer Bellows' shot a couple of times in this game. How quickly he delivers it. Carter Hart fields that one cleanly, and now it's Tyson Jost.
The 3rd shooter for Canada. Tyson Jost in, and Parsons Parsons makes the stop. The shooters are 0 for 6 so far.
Jost wants to go right over the pad. Parsons moves with him and makes the stop. And here comes Troy Terry. 3 goals in the shootout yesterday.
He was 3 for 3. Terry in on Hart. Shoots, scores! 4 for 4 in shootouts in 2 days, and the United States has the lead.
He's gone through the 5-hole 4 times. 3 times yesterday, 1 today. It's exactly what he did the first time yesterday, down the left side, 1 step to his right, and he beats Hart through the pads. And here is Cirelli.
Cirelli 3 for 3 for Oshawa this year. Cirelli to tie it. Works in a backhand shot, and Parsons makes the stop. And so now, the U.S. can win it.
Cirelli goes to the backhand. Turned away athletically by Parsons, and Jeremy Bracco, who plays in Kitchener, can wrap this up.
He was the 5th shooter for the U.S., scored to keep them alive yesterday. Bracco in on Hart. Bracco in, and Hart turns him away to keep Canada alive.
Oh, Hart has to squeeze the stick, keep the stick down with pressure. This almost squeaks through. Hart makes a terrific stop, and it's Nicolas Roy.
He's 2 for 4 this year in the Quebec League. Roy works in, deep, Parsons makes the stop, and the United States has won the gold medal in Montreal. World Junior Champions with the win of the shootout. The 4th gold medal for the U.S. in its history. They come back from a pair of 2-goal deficits and take Canada down in the shootout. What a night.
Gord, while the Canadian players are sitting on the bench, Connor Ingram scrambled over the bench to go down to Carter Hart. The Americans celebrate an unbelievable comeback victory, down 2-0, down 4-2. 1 goal in the shootout by Troy Terry. He got the winner in back-to-back games.
And think of the close chances. Dubois in the 3rd period, who fanned that chance. Stevens late in overtime. But Tyler Parsons, a Memorial Cup champion for the London Knights, is now a World Junior Champion for Team USA. And this Montreal crowd now saluting Team Canada.
There's just one fan.
Now, that was an awful lot of fun, wasn't it? And I got to tell you, normally I just stick with the pros on this show because, there's so much going on in hockey that if you start covering everything, you get spread out too thin. But I wanted to put this in because it had a lot of ramifications in the pros. Let me tell you about poor Austin Matthews from the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? Good American boy, having a whale of a rookie year. All kind of fans love him. Well, he had a bet with his head coach, Mike Babcock, going in to the tournament. Naturally, he took the American team. Babcock took the Canadian team, and he lost to his coach, so he didn't let that go down. When the Americans won, they said, very nicely, he was trying not to smile in front of all of his Canadian players in the locker room, but eventually he just bust out laughing, and they just rode him terribly. But not only that, after he tweeted 3 American flags, okay? These tweets, that's why I'm not on Twitter. He tweeted 3 American flags after they won, and the people in Toronto went bonkers. They started saying, we're going to trade you. They wanted to trade him for Laine, and they just got vicious. We don't need you anymore. Get out of town. You're nothing. You're a waste. I was like, wow, they turned on him so fast just because, this is how deep-rooted that whole racial prejudice is up there in the old Great White North. And in fact, I have heard on a less comical note, I have heard through some of my sources that it's gone down through the ranks up there in Canada that if American players come up and try out for the teams in the lower ranks, like in the A leagues and B leagues, that they should not consider picking an American before they pick a Canadian. Now, that was always the case up there. They always favored the Canadian players over the American players, but I've been told that it's become even tighter since the World Junior Cup. Boy, you know, that's carrying things a little bit too far there, guys. I'm sorry. You know, it's nasty up there, I'm telling you. And, you know, and I got to do this, too. I love Don Cherry. I really, really do. I mean, right now in the entire world of hockey reporting, there are two people that will tell you the way it is without holding back any punches. Don Cherry's one of them. I'm the other one. That's it. After that, everybody else has to play the politically correct game, so forget about it, eh? All right, so, but my man Don, even he was really bummed out of shape when the Americans won the World Junior Cup. He dressed up in all Canadian regalia, and he went on this little spew to begin his coach's corner on how the Canadians are still the best. Here's a look.
I wore this tie. Look at here. Always remember, kids, we are the best. And there's Blue sitting up. It's our game for sure. You like that there? And I don't, you know, I keep listening to talk shows. I keep reading the paper and everything, other guys talking. Let's just say, kids, we are the best. You say, we're not? Okay. Best goalie is Price. You will say best goalie. Yeah. Best goal scorer is Crosby this year. Best assist is McDavid, 19-year-old kid. Top scorer in the whole league is McDavid. Best defenseman is Burns, for sure. He should win the North, for sure. Best last year, Toffoli was the forward, best plus and minus. The best defenseman was plus and minus, was Campbell. A lot of people don't know that. And the best face-off guy was Taves. So we are the best. And, again, they could have had Matthews. There's no doubt about that. But we could have had 6 guys, including McDavid. See, you don't talk like this if you're a Canadian. You don't talk like this. I talk like it. You know, I tell you, I am upset with Hockey Canada. I have to tell you why. Many times I've said this before. It's so politically correct. 9-7-3. 9-7-3. Can't, and then two university like that. You cannot be like that. You have to be. We have no problem in the Olympics.
This whole thing is funny, and I just had to show that shootout again, just to kind of rub it in. Those folks up there in Canada one more time. I'm sure they'll have their comeuppance sometime. But right now, we're on top of the heap there. I thought that was funny. And poor Austin Matthews. I mean, really, you know, the whole city turns against you? Hey, I told you this was going to be the season of vintage shirts. So let me first explain that you are getting what we call a Amore effect here on the top of my jersey. And that's because I completely forgot that the Phoenix Coyotes put green in their initial jerseys. And that's what this is. Let me stand up here for you. See that? This is the original Phoenix Coyotes jersey. And I still say, ladies and gentlemen, this was their best. This was great. But you can see everywhere where you're getting that little blurry thing, that's because it's green. And when you're working in front of a green screen, you're not supposed to wear green. That's why my shoulders are getting kind of blurred on you, and that's my bad. I'm sorry. The Coyotes now are maroon and white with a black trim, and it never dawned on me that their earlier version had blue and green in it, so that's why you get that little thing there. But these jerseys are really cool, and I think the Coyotes should go back to them and just stay with them. They're just fantastic. Beginning of the year, I made my predictions for some of the teams that were going to be kind of strong, and boy, did I get a lot of flack. Not so much, you know, on the internet, but, you know, when you go out, guys' night out, and you're sitting on the bar and stuff, I got a lot of flack from people saying, how in the world could I ever think that Vancouver and Carolina were going to be anywhere near, you know, playoff contending teams? I just want to hold off right now and say that Ryan Miller, goaltender for the Canucks, and Cam Ward, netminder for the Hurricanes, have both found their A game as of late. They have propelled both of their teams into the playoff picture, and that's important because now it's almost about the halfway point. We're getting ready for the All-Star game, and as such, this is the time you want to start peaking. Admittedly, in the beginning of the year, it looked like these two teams were going to be absolute disasters, but they found their game, their netminders have calmed down, especially Ryan Miller. He's playing out of his head. It's just amazing, some of the things I've posted up there. And we want to say congrats to him as he became only the 3rd American goaltender to record 300 wins in the National Hockey League. So congratulations to you, Ryan. And the Canadians and Canucks are up there. And I'm not going to sit in front of all of you and say, I told you so, but yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. So, I know, still a long way to go. You know, hockey comes up with an awful lot of really interesting promotions. And some work really well and some not so well. Like when your mascot is a giant polar bear and he's not wearing skates. Check this out.
I wore the wrong socks.
Team 1, take 4.
I wore the wrong socks. I did get to ride a bear once. Have you, wait, which one was it? Oh yeah. I was like, have you tried the hot dogs here? He's like, do you get to go home for the rest of the day?
He's not going to be much use to us, I don't think.
Needless to say, I didn't get my deposit back. Needless to say, I didn't get my deposit back. I've never been kissed by a gopher before. And Wiper Mitsubishi is a proud sponsor of Golden Goat for Hockey.
Are you okay? Because that's your nose rubbed
See, on the last episode, we did a little segment about the Philadelphia Flyers and their kind of online, actually in-arena battle with the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Well, you know, I love it when the sports mix up like this. Apparently, Brock Lesnar, the beast incarnate in the WWE, is a huge hockey fan. And he happened to be in Winnipeg, and I guess the Jets are one of his favorite teams, and they happened to be playing a game when he was there, and they were wearing their old throwback Jet jerseys. This is before they had shipped up and moved to Atlanta and then come back again. Remember those jerseys? Yeah. So Brock decides that he's going to stop into the locker room, say hi to the guys, take some pictures with them, and just do a little, you know, hey, nice to see you type of thing, and a little good luck in the game before. And inadvertently, he commits one of hockey's worst sins. Take a look.
He walked me right over it. He baited me in. Can I get what you want? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, can you get one? Send that email to me?
Now, you know, I don't know where this came from. This I guess it's superstition that if there's the symbol, the team logo in the middle of the locker room, you're not allowed to walk across it. And I'm not exactly sure how that started or where it started, but I know that, you know, most teams respect that. They just will not walk across the logo, their own logo in a locker room. Now, obviously, Brock didn't know this. And I don't know who in that room, I mean, they're all great athletes, you know, on the Jets team, but who in that room was going to stand up to Brock? I mean, he's 6'7", 300 pounds, you know, solid muscle, you know, that's not going to happen. But the thing I like the best is after the team reacts, it goes like, whoa, what did you do? And someone explains it to him. The first thing he does is blame the guy that let him into the locker room. I didn't know he told me. It doesn't matter your size. You still, you know, pin the blame somewhere else over there. So I bet Brock doesn't make that mistake again. Okay, he'll be stepping over other wrestlers nowadays, I guess. Hey, this is called In the Crease for a reason, because we concentrate on goaltenders, right? And occasionally, goaltenders get in fights also. This, you got to see this to believe it. This is courtesy of our friends in the ECHL.
They're going to go at center. Hauser takes off the gloves. They steps in with him. Hauser backs out of the red line, north of that Cyclone logo. They grab each other, and then Hauser just stumbles down.
You know, that's the difference between hockey and a lot of the other sports. Two goaltenders fight, one punch sends the guy down. The first thing the goaltender does, he helps his buddy up and gets him up off the ice. Yeah, you don't see that in football. You sure don't see it in basketball, baseball either. So there you go, camaraderie all around, you know. Good punch. Yeah, so, you know, I like to address this because it's kind of a bizarre thing. And a lot of times people will ask me about this, but the New York Islanders fired their head coach, Jack Capuano. And you sit there and you shake your head a little bit and you say, wait a minute, what's going on? Let's back up a little bit. The Isles were absolutely going nowhere until Capuano came on as head coach. He was head coach for them for 4 seasons, and out of those 4 seasons, he led them to the playoffs 3 times. In fact, last year they made it all the way to the second round of the playoffs before they were eliminated. That is not bad. This year, however, they have fallen on some hard times, and they're kind of dead last over in the division, and as a result, they have pushed Capuano out. I'm not exactly sure that this was a good move, and I'm not exactly sure that's where the problem is. At least the Islanders did it a lot better than some other teams who will remain nameless right now, who fired their coach while on the road and sent him home in a taxi cab. At least they did this after the guy was playing a home game and had a victory under his belt. General manager of the Islanders, Garth Snow, said sometimes a new voice in the locker room will be enough to kind of mix the chemistry up, turn the team around, and bring them back out. They've called up Dougie White, who is assistant GM, and they brought him down to sit behind the bench until they decide what they're going to do with their coaching position. Capuano was a really good coach. He did for the Isles what a lot of other people couldn't do as far as getting them back in the playoffs and making them a respectable team again. Sometimes if a goaltender goes into a slump, pretty much like Henrik Lundqvist is experiencing right now, there are 2 philosophies. One is to sit him on the bench and let the backup try to pick up the ball. The other one is to try to let your main goaltender, play his way through the slump. And I'm not so sure that that's not the same thing you should do with a coach. I mean, Capuano had done good work. Things weren't going right this year, so maybe you let him play through it and get back up again, but that was not the way it was to be. People have already started rumors that Garth Snow, general manager for the Islanders, may be next if the Isles don't turn their season around. I'm not sure. Take a look at Boston with Claude Julien. Claude Julien is probably one of the best coaches in the NHL, and certainly the Bees have had some slumps during his tenure where it looked bad. And of course, all the stories come out, oh, get rid of the coach, get rid of the coach. That's not always the answer. And I think Claude Julien has proven that, as he has remained steadfast, and the Bruins have remained steadfast and fought through their little slumps. I'm not so sure that the Isles should have dumped Capuano, that they should maybe have given him a chance to fight through this slump. But time, as they say, will tell. Hey, I got something else here for you. I'm all for, young, energetic reporters trying to make a name for themselves and doing something silly. But there was a hockey reporter who actually pegged down Alexander Ovechkin before a game and started asking him questions about being Russian in America because the Russians had hacked our election and caused the whole thing for Hillary to lose and all that gobbledygook, if you believe all that kind of stuff going on out there. And, I have no idea what this reporter was thinking of. The man plays hockey. He's been in this country for a good number of years. Let him play his sport. He didn't have anything to do with WikiLeaks or leaking emails. He's there to play hockey. Want to talk to him? Talk to him about hockey, especially before game time. No, this guy's got to bring up all this political stuff. Ovi, you know, I tell you what, he is a class act. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, quite simply, he said, I have friends who are Russian friends. I have friends who are American friends. I love them all. We all get along. Period. End. Out the door. Ovi, class act, baby. Let me tell you about hockey in New Zealand. Where did this come from? In New Zealand, they play hockey just a little bit differently than they play it here. You see, in New Zealand, if you are called for a penalty in the first 2 periods of a game, the team has a choice. You can take the 2-minute power play, or you can opt to have a penalty shot. That option exists in the first and second periods only. In the third period, you have to take, the power play. So, during a game, penalty was called in the second period, and the team decided to take the penalty shot. The offended player was the goaltender. Yes, we had it in a professional game, a goaltender on a goaltender and a penalty shot. Did he score? Take a look. Say, I would love to talk more hockey with you, but we are fresh out of time right now. So we've got to wrap this episode up. And until the next episode, I'll be gathering all these little tidbits all along the area and presenting them to you on the next episode. In the meantime, if you run into any of your Canadian friends, be sure to point out the World Junior Cup Tournament to them and say, how you doing? Until next time, I'm Fiore. And remember, when it comes to hockey, if you're in the game, you're in the crease.